Hi, in this video I'll be analysing one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes, which made me think of a comment I once got for one of my analysing videos, which went something like, why do we always have to analyse everything? Can't we just for once listen to it, watch it and simply enjoy? Well, yeah, you can. Because quite frankly I don't care what you do in your life, but I like to analyse things. Because it's interesting, that's why. Because it helps to understand a work's quality and it can also help to learn from it. For example, in 1945, Joseph Campbell published his book The Hero with a Thousand Faces, in which he discusses his theory of the journey of the archetypal hero found in world mythologies, which all share a fundamental structure Campbell called the monomyth. He summarized the basic structure of the hero's journey with points like the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, supernatural aid, the crossing of the first threshold, etc., etc. Since its publication, Campbell's theory has been consciously applied by a wide variety of modern writers and artists, best known perhaps George Lucas, who has actually acknowledged a debt towards Campbell regarding the stories of his Star Wars movies. So, brainlessly nagging people out there, this is why literary scholars always have to analyze everything, and why teachers teach their pupils how to analyze things, because there probably would be no fucking Star Wars without it, that's why! I'm sorry, I tend to get very upset by the thought. But this isn't a video about Star Wars, nor about the monomyth. It's about something much more irritating and therefore more fun. I'm going to analyse the Doctor Who double episode Human Nature and Family of Blood from the third new series with the help of Freytag's Pyramid. Gustav Freytag was a German novelist and playwright who lived in the 19th century. By studying ancient Greek and Shakespearean drama, he wrote Die Technik des Dramas, a definitive study of the five-act dramatic structure. Under Freytag's Pyramid, the plot consists of 5 parts: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and revelation or catastrophe. Although Freytag's analysis of dramatic structure is based on 5-act plays, it can be applied, sometimes in a modified manner, to novels, short stories and why not TV episodes, which doesn't mean it's always useful, but you can apply to this double episode. The first episode, Human Nature, is off for a pretty good start. Doctor and Martha are in a shaking TARDIS, there's a sense of danger and escape, and then bang, confusion starts. Suddenly the Doctor Who we know and recognize was only a dream. We're in the early 20th century, Martha's servant, the man we know as a Time Lord, is completely human, and bang, titles. Very confusing, and it doesn't get better because that lovely sci-fi feeling goes completely away for the whole of the introduction and almost most of episode 1. In the exposition or introduction that in Freytag's structure provides the background information needed to properly understand the story, and of course the introduction to the characters, we're in the year 1912 in the boarding school. The Doctor is called John Smith and he's not at all like the Doctor. He teaches history and is this kind of a shy guy who gets completely flustered when the school nurse is hitting on him. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed by the beginning as well. I mean, David Tennant looks dashing, but no Doctor suit, no TARDIS, and overall very little Doctor Who feeling, which is why I award only 1 TARDIS point. No, see, that's the point of the episode, that the Doctor is... Do not encourage her! Right, yeah, sorry. Moving on. After Freytag, the exposition is followed by the rising action. Everything that happens here spurs the story on. The basic conflict is complicated by the introduction of related secondary conflicts. In Human Nature, this means we're finally back to science fiction with the arrival of the alien ship which was tracking the Doctor, who himself is still more busy getting himself romantically involved. Here we also learn about the background in flashbacks, that the Doctor has in fact hidden his Time Lord personality in a fob watch and actually is a real human in order to hide from the aliens the family of blood. And further complications arise when the aliens are closing in and the fob watch that the Doctor needs to become himself again gets stolen by a schoolboy, Tim Latimer. A bit of a TARDIS appearance here, but I was missing the sound. Now when it comes to the arrival of the aliens, the green light in the sky was a bit dodgy, I think. I'm still not satisfied at the sci-fi level, which is why I'm afraid I'm still only at 2 TARDIS points. Out of what? I do not understand why you insist on being so thick that you don't seem to understand it's best to ignore her. Oh, yeah, right, sorry, yeah. The third act is that of the climax, a turning point which makes a change for the better or the worse. Simply put, this is where the most dramatic part happens. In this double episode, the climax is extended over the end of the first episode, producing a massive cliffhanger at the annual village dance, where the Doctor, still human, is on a date, while Martha tries to persuade him he is a doctor because the aliens are attacking, and Cliffhanger try to make him choose between Matron, his date, and Martha. At the beginning of the second episode, the family of Blood, they do escape and are able to retreat into the school, but the aliens are closing in and there is a battle where schoolboys shoot scarecrows, not people, but still, and those scarecrows are scary. I mean, you cannot kill them, they definitely got zombie qualities. Yes, now we're talking. Nice alien weaponry and a schoolground battle where a teacher gets herself killed. And for the character of that cute little girl with a red balloon as a creepy supervillain alone, I am awarding 6 TARDIS points. You do realize no one's ever asked you to give any points whatsoever. It does not matter. All we need are great villains. I mean, pod people of all things. And not to forget, walking and fighting scarecrows. I don't like scarecrows. Well, look who's getting distracted now. After the climax, the fourth act or step contains the falling action, where the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist unravels, with the protagonist winning or losing. The falling action might contain a moment of final suspense, during which the final outcome of the conflict is in doubt. In the family of Blood, it looks like the Doctor has lost. They were able to escape, but now the aliens are bombarding the village and innocent people are dying. There are actually only a few Doctor Who villains who dare to hunt the Doctor specifically, and even fewer who use humans as chess pieces against the Doctor, and by doing so ultimately succeed in bringing out the worst in him, which we will see in the ending. But before that, we get to witness John Smith's heartbreaking choice. He gets the watch back and now has to make a decision whether to become the Doctor again, which this humanized version of the Time Lord neither knows nor understands, or to have a perfectly happy life with Nurse Redfern, which is even shown to him in a vision. And this epic speech Tim Latimer delivers, the schoolboy who has brought him the watch back and who has seen the Time Lord within, doesn't help. Because while it sounds super heroic, he's like fire and ice and rage. He's like the night at the storm in the heart of the sun. He's ancient and forever. He burns at the center of time and can see the turn of the universe. And he's wonderful. What human could ever identify lightheartedly with this kind of a godlike being, judging by this choice of words? And while it is a climatic speech and one of those epic moments, it doesn't feel quite right, does it? Because it never has been that obvious that how alien the Doctor really is. And while the writers sometimes let us believe that he actually sees eye to eye with humans so much that he even can fall in love with them, I'm one of those people who never really bought into the romance with Rose. Because if you believe this episode, for instance, if you believe Tim Latimer's speech and if you like that side of the Doctor, you cannot take that seriously, that he even falls in love with a human, because ultimately he's such an evolved being that humans must seem more like elaborate pets to him rather than partners, and so Martha's unrequited love feels much more authentic. So it is especially painful when at last he is human and he falls in love, not with Martha, but with the nurse. This is a really serious episode, isn't it? I'm not sure if I like that. I mean, I'm missing the humour and the silliness and the jack of all tradesness that the Doctor character usually comes with. But, and this is important, I do like the fobwatch design. So I'm going to give it 5 TARDIS points. Why do I get the impression you're not taking this seriously? I have no idea. The denouement serves as the conclusion of the story. Conflicts are resolved, creating normality for the characters, and a sense of catharsis or release of tension and anxiety for the viewer. Simply put, denouement is the unraveling or untying of the complexities of a plot, sometimes in a catastrophe. This starts with one of my favorite Doctor Who moments of all times, the tiniest cliffhanger, when the Doctor at first makes us believe he still is John Smith and willing to give away the Doctor, and with this ruse tricking the family of Blood, playfully, effortlessly destroying their ship. And then within 1 second, bang, the Doctor is back and oh my god, how we've missed him. Of course he made the change. We need him back on the show after all. And while we are still glad to have the Doctor back, the story skips right into another epic moment, the Fury of the Time Lord sequence. This poetic and yet surprisingly hard punishment for the family of blood. We rarely get to see the Doctor executing his power in such a cold and cruel way, especially as we have to question his sense of justice here. Well, first of all, he's punishing someone already defeated, and second of all, while hiding from the family of blood was meant as an act of mercy by him, to give this family a chance to escape him defending himself, to achieve that, he used humans as a buffer. He hides amongst school kids of all things, knowingly bringing danger with him, and many people died because he chose to hide in that school, and from that guilt he goes off and takes it out on the villains. So in conclusion, while I perfectly enjoyed all the quirky, silly, playful Doctor Who episodes, the Human Nature storyline will always be my favorite. Because it is so exceptionally rare that a serious storyline is told that soberly and thus reaching exceptional depth. Because we get to explore here, much better than in most other episodes, the Doctor's problematic nature between good and bad. Yeah, I'm not sure about this analysing thingy, whatever, but overall I agree it was a fairly good episode, so I've come to a conclusion, a final result of 7 TARDIS points for this double episode. Out of what? 7 points out of what? You have to give a reference frame. Is it 7 points out of 8 or of 35? This is so beside the point. Oh, it's not. It's the whole point of having a point system on which you can indicate the scale, on which you can measure, which are congruent to the qualities, or like, relative to the points you'd give a perfect, or like totally perfect episode. Jeez, you're not gonna have a stroke, aren't you? Fine, keep your pants on. As a favor to you, so you don't have to cry yourself to sleep, I'm going to award this double episode 8 TARDIS points. 8 out of what?